basically, you know when you press too many keys on a computer and the computer freezes, says, I can't process this. Well, that was me. There was so much information pouring into my conscious mind as a result of that experience in Peru. I couldn't process it. I mean, you basically froze. What happened after 3 months is it unfroze. And now I'm the old David again, but I ain't.
Just more.
I'm seeing the world in a completely different way. As they say when you read a newspaper, the truth is in the white bits, not the words, the bits in between. You know, so I was seeing things and connections that I couldn't see before.
Did you ever question yourself there, David, and think, am I losing my mind? Do I need to go and get help? Or did it just feel right for you? Did you understand it a bit more?
Well, it felt right to me. I would say I completely understood it then. It felt right to me. And I did what I always do, like I've just mentioned earlier. I thought, okay, I'm going with this, and we're going to see where it's going to go. And I didn't know where it was going, but I'm going to go with this and see where it goes. And people were coming up to me after that, unfreezing, and they were saying, they thought you'd got mad. You're the same Dave we used to know, but I wasn't. I appeared to be, but I wasn't. I was seeing the world in a completely different way. And of course, in a world which is overwhelmingly programmed to see the world in a certain way, it's what happens through the education system and the media and peer pressure. It's very, very narrow band of sense of the possible, sense of what is. When you start talking about things that are different to that, then immediately the reaction is you're crazy or you're dangerous, or in my case, you're both. But what followed, of course, was mass ridicule as a result of the Wogan show. And people said, it must have been horrible. Well, it was, but it was the greatest gift I ever have been given, because it set me free of the prison that most people live in, which is the fear of what other people think. Mm-hmm. When you literally can't walk down the street without being laughed at. I mean, I lived my life for a long time after that to the sound of distant or even close laughter. Going into a pub, forget it. So you either go under and you disappear.
What the majority of people do.
Yeah, or you come out like steel honed in the fire, and you let go of this prison, this ball and chain that most of the population of the world live in, the fear of what other people think. Most people, the vast majority of people, because of this fear, are not living their truth, they're not living their life, they're not living their uniqueness. They're living what they think is acceptable to other people's version of what they should be. So they go through mental gymnastics before saying things, even more today with political correctness and all this bollocks. What can I say? So they won't say I'm this or that, or what can I say and how can I say it so they won't think I'm mad. Now, when the world appears, it wasn't the world, there were others that saw through it, but certainly appeared to be the world and was the vast majority, are ridiculing you mercilessly. I mean, someone only had to say my name in a comedy thing. I remember David Frost just mentioned my name in a Raw Variety performance. The bloody audience laughed. No joke necessary.
How did that affect you and your family? Did you ever think that moving away, or did you think to yourself, I can't handle this? Were you ever suicidal or anything, David?
No, absolutely. No. I'm a stubborn bugger, me. Mm-hmm. And the more you tell me what I can't say, the more I'll say it. The more you tell me what I can't do, I'll do it. And but there was something. Obviously, you've got confusion. What the hell is happening to me? What's happening? But there was a core beyond that somehow just knew this was going to be okay, and it was leading somewhere, and just some knowing you can't really explain. And I'll tell you a story, a true story. I'm sitting in the seat on the Wogan show, and he's talking to me. And the audience are laughing, and David Icke, the experience, not the experience, was dying. But something beyond that was saying to me, as it was happening, this is leading somewhere. It's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. And that wherever that was coming from, that kind of kept me going through all this period of ridicule. And, you know, I didn't know at that point, of course, some of the things that I was going to be talking about. I didn't know what was coming and what was going to be uncovering and all that stuff.
Some of the things on that show, David, you covered, because you went back on the Wogan show, which you did apologise for. It came true, some of the stuff. So, again, that's showing that you stood up for what you believed in. It did come true. What do you think, David, as humans, who are we as individuals? Who are we as people? Why are we on this planet, do you think?
Well, let's put this planet and this experience into context, which is something you almost never hear. We have unbelievable numbers of television channels, radio channels now, 24/7, beaming out all over the world, all the time. How often, comparatively, do you see programs about the nature of reality? Actually, who are we? What is this place? What are we doing here? Surely that would be at the center of questioning, but it's not. It's marginalized, because if you have a population that is living a reality which actually doesn't exist, but they experience it as if it does, you've already put them in a cul-de-sac of perception. And that's where you want them. If the few are going to control the many, you can't have an enlightened population. You've got to have an ignorant population that believes in things that aren't real. And that's why so many lies pour out of politics, because they're trying to get the population to believe something that's not true. But this is a much deeper level of it. Let's get them to believe in a reality that's not true, while the very few, not the politicians, are overwhelmingly ignorant as anyone else, in fact, more so. But at the core, in the shadows, they understand how reality works, and they want the population not to know. That's why you don't have this, who are we, where are we, how does all this work, discussed in any length, or even at all, mostly in the media. But let's put this into perspective. If I said to most people, if you look into this room, can you see everything in the room, everything in the space that you're looking at? They go, well, yeah, of course I can. No, you can't.
4th, 5th dimensions.
Yeah. According to mainstream science, the electromagnetic spectrum, which is basically the reality we live in, is 0.005% of what exists in the universe. And the universe is only one construct within infinity. And visible light, which is the only frequency band that we can see, everything we see visually is within this band, visible light, is a smear of the 0.005%. Some say it's a bit more, as much as 0.5%, but negligible, whatever. And therefore, we're not actually living in a world. We're living in a band of frequency, tiny, which contains an informational field or fields. And we are interacting with those informational fields, just like a computer interacts with Wi-Fi, and we are decoding those informational fields into what appears to be, and we experience as, a solid...
Are we come from apes? Are we fish? Are we... There's so many questions you can ask about it. What's true, what's real, what's fake?
We don't come from apes. That's another kind of...
Because there's apes still here if it's...
But, you know, when you follow that story back, it's a nonsense. But it's a great diversion from what's actually going on. Because are we computers at the level of consciousness? No. See, if you said to me, who are you? I would say I am awareness. I am a state of being aware. Forget the body, forget everything. In my base form, I am a state of awareness. I am a point of attention within an infinite stream of awareness. And you are a point of attention in the same stream of awareness, and so's everybody else. But your point of attention, which is influenced by your life experience, sees the world in a certain way, and my point of attention sees it in a certain way. But we're all together points of attention within the same stream of consciousness. This is what makes racism and sexism and all these isms utterly nonsensical. Unfortunately, if you want to find racists, then go and find anti-racists.